And we are live. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Today we have a new episode in Quran, reading Quran in layman terms. This is our third episode coming to you from me, hi, Wissam, from Atheism Without Borders group, and joining me, my good friend, uh, Ruby. Hi, Ruby. So, this episode, by the way, you're on mute, Ruby. You're on mute.
I said hi everyone. Now I say how every two because we only have two.
بالضبط, yes. No, we have six. Hi, every six.
Really? It shows
Now we're up to
two
six.
here. Yeah, good. So we're progressing.
Exactly.
Which is good. Well, thank you guys for coming in, and thank you, Wissam, for having me.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you, Venus. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so today's episode 3, it's the second episode in Surah Al-Nazi'at. Last week we couldn't finish it. It was a bit long, which is funny because most of surahs from this chapter in Quran, they should be short. But again, I think they are ordered in that chapter in descending order. So the first one was the longest. This is the second one, still long. But as we go along, the surahs will become shorter and shorter.
But it's a good transition because it was at the beginning, it was just swearing. So now at least, we're transitioning to something else. We don't know why, but we are transitioning.
Yeah.
So I think we stopped at verse 16. So maybe we should start verse 16.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We probably we need to do a quick recap first.
Okay.
So previously on Lost, last episode, we started reading from Nazi'at, Surah Al-Nazi'at, the Snatchers. Basically, it was the first 6-7 verses. He was swearing. He was swearing by the Snatchers, snatchingly, actively, swimmingly, bigly. So that's what he did. And then he started describing the end of days, how people will react to the end of days. And that took us about another few verses up to verse 14. And then suddenly, plot twist, the maid did it. The maid was the murderer. Has nothing to do with the whole thing. And we jump to verse 15. Verse 15, basically, it just says, have you heard of Moses? What does that have to do with anything? We have no idea. So we're just reading along, trying to find out what the heck he wants. By the way, Ruby, I love the new hair.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I was watching your episode with Mr. Ramadan Ghali.
Yeah.
And it was I felt bad because that was the first thing I noticed. Oh, I love the new hairstyle. And I commented, love the new hairstyle.
Thank you. I saw that actually. Maybe I didn't have the chance to answer, but thank you. That was the day I cut it short. This is my regular. I just let it grow a little bit, in the last 2 months, and it just bothered me. I can't sleep well, when I have hair.
But it looks brilliant. It looks brilliant.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on. Verse 15. Has there reached you the story of Moses? Have you heard of the story of Moses? Who's he talking to? He's talking to the prophet. He's talking to us. We don't know. But he ran out of swearing and description.
Okay. Before we go any further, let's say which translation you're reading.
I'm reading from a website called Quran.com.
Whose translation? It says, doesn't say whose translation it is?
No.
Okay, really. Because mine says Muhammad Marduk and William Pickethall.
Fact. Let's see. What does the fact say? Salam since the update. No, just talking about the website. No names.
Okay, just people can, Google for them.
No, it's called, the translation comes from Sahih International.
Who put Sahih International? It's what's agreed upon. Okay, I can. Who? Who? You never know. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, which is funny because the Muslims pride themselves in what is called tawatur. So how they keep the story and how they make sure that the
Yeah,
source of
they're
the
very
story is correct.
precise with every word, with every, even the similes. If one
Exactly.
word, what is it called in English? When one word has more than one meaning, synonyms. You know,
Mm,
they care about the stuff, and yet when they translate, the translation is so different from one to another. I'm reading, yeah. So this person took the translation not completely, but a lot different than this guy. So let's we can go, and now we
mm.
can compare the translation as well as we go.
Exactly. And by the way, if you go back to our first couple of episodes, we compare different translations, and you can see
Exactly.
that my translator takes different meanings from different interpreters. So he doesn't stick with one interpreter and give the literal translation from there. He's just doing it on its own, on his own, or
You
her
know,
own. We
you
don't
know
know.
why this is important?
Mm,
Your translation, for instance, he says, it starts with swearing by the angels.
mm,
Mine is swearing by the stars. Now, I Googled it before coming here. There was somebody who said that the miracle of Islam, or the science miracle of Islam, is that it talks about how earth is round.
mm.
Based on this surah,
Yes, we'll get
وَالْأَرْضِ
there.
دَحَاهَا وَالْأَرْضِ دَحَاهَا.
Yeah, yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
There's a
So
plot twist.
anyway, here translation make a big difference if it's a star or if it's an angel.
Hmm.
So,
So again, uh, the whole purpose of why we're doing these episodes in English, because the vast majority of Muslims do not speak Arabic.
exactly.
So we are lucky enough to have Arabic as our native tongue. We can understand these things, but more than a billion human beings, a billion Muslims do not speak Arabic, and they rely on translations. So the whole purpose of this series is to uncover the different interpretations, and when you translate them into English, they will mean different things.
So at least you have to be skeptic of everything you hear in English if you are a non-Arabic speaking audience. That's
Absolutely.
the point.
Absolutely. So let's go on. So we last time we got to the
15.
15 when sudden gear change in the storyline, and he stopped swearing by the stars and the angels and all that, and moved on to, have you heard of the story of Moses? Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay.
16, when his Lord called him in the sacred valley of Tawa, and we covered that. Well, Tawa, some people said it's the name of the valley, some said it's a place where the valley is, and some said Tawa comes from stepping on it, from وطأت قدمه in Arabic.
Yeah, and it's basically, we said it means just folding.
Yes, yeah, and it means, and also it means folding.
By the
Yes.
way, also it could have other meanings, because also I'm not sure, but I also heard that it has to do a lot with the Syriac name and or word, or all the languages that were before the Quran. So it's not even an Arabic word, some other meaning.
Uh, Plenty of scholars and researchers have found out that quite few words in Quran have no Arabic source or Arabic root whatsoever, and the
Foreign.
closest thing to them is either Sanskrit or what's the
Syria,
language of the Bible?
Syriania,
Syrian,
Syria.
Assyrian language. Yeah. So back to business. Have you heard of Moses? His Lord talked to him in the valley, and then what did the God told Moses in 17? Go to Pharaoh. Indeed, he has transgressed or became a dictator. Okay, so let's see what's the interpretation say. We're at 17. Go to Pharaoh, and he became dictator. But you remember, usually I read from Tabari interpretation, but sometimes I read Qurtubi if I want to have fun. And
let's do that.
It's like a sitcom. So Tabari said, he started going through the grammar of it all, but it mainly means go to Pharaoh as if Pharaoh is a name because he became a dictator. Okay, thank you very much. Qurtubi, on the other hand, said, go to Pharaoh because he became a dictator. But also, Al-Hassan said, Pharaoh was a dwarf from Hamdan, from a place called Hamdan. Al-Jinn, basically, it's a short person. And Mujahid said, oh no, Pharaoh is just someone from a place called Astakhar. Now, Al-Hassan again said he's from Asbahan. That's a different place.
Iran. That's in Iran.
Oh, yeah, that's in Iran. And his height is 4 palms. So Pharaoh is a dwarf, a short person. That's what Pharaoh is in Al-Qurtubi. Pause for effect.
So that's Al-Qurtubi?
This is Al-Qurtubi. By the way, this is the official website for Quran translation in Arabic.
No kidding. Okay, Al-Qurtubi, when was Al-Qurtubi's time? I'll check that. I'll check that. Yeah.
So that's 17, 18.
17,
so basically,
18?
So 17 said, go to Pharaoh because he became a dictator. And 18, it says, and say to him, would you be willing to purify yourself? Purify yourself. فقال له فقال هل لك إلا أن تزكى.
تزكى. Mine says, and say between brackets unto him, hast thou well to grow in grace. This is very poetic.
Yeah. Yours is poetic.
Yeah.
But let's see what the actual interpretation says. What does he say? Yeah, there's nothing funny about Al-Qurtubi in this one. Let's read the actual serious one.
Anyway, the Qurtubi died in 1273. So he came after, much after.
600 years, something?
Yeah, after, what's his name? Tabari. So this is a later translation.
Qurtubi, yes. Qurtubi, a few hundred years after Tabari.
Yeah, and Jalalain also. Let me see what Jalalain says, because Jalalain is also came later than Qurtubi. So it's verse.
Yeah. So while you're looking for it, basically, he said, go to Moses and tell him to become, what is it? Purify yourself.
Okay. Hallaka ad'uka. Hallaka means ad'uka, like I ask you.
Yeah.
Tell him I ask you إلى أن تزكى. وفي قراءة بتشدد الزاي بإدغام التاء الثانية في الأصل فيها تطهر من الشرك بأن تشهد
Exactly.
أن لا
So
إله إلا الله.
purify yourself. Yes.
Yeah,
But
purified by citing the shahada. The shahada is actually shahada means testimony, but it's that you have.
you declare that there is no God but God, but Allah, and so on. That's what
Yeah,
shahada means.
so you testify that there is no God but Allah,
Exactly.
which is really, you haven't seen God to testify.
Now, Tabari made a mistake here. He went through all these grammatical details about this verse, and towards the end, and he said, "Yeah, and by the way, it also means pay zakat, which is the Sharia tax."
Wow, this is Tabari?
This is Tabari. This is not the funny Qurtubi. No, this is Tabari.
Okay. So he's closer. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, he said because
Which makes sense. Tazakka, zakat.
Exactly, pay zakat, but he's not even Muslim. He's not even believer.
It's basically.
Yeah. So he thinks he is a god, Pharaoh. He's a short god, only 4 feet long. No, sorry, not 4 feet, 4 palms. So he's maybe a couple of feet long. So this very short person became a dictator, and Moses was sent to him and tell him, pay God's taxes. Means absolutely nothing.
Okay.
And so so the invitation continues. He invited him to purify himself or pay Sharia taxes, and he also said, "And let me guide you to your Lord, so you would fear Him." What does your translation say?
Mine says, "Then I will guide thee to thy Lord, and thou shalt fear him."
Yeah, close enough.
Basically, yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
So basically, he's proselytizing. He's going to bring this guy, it's like when you have those religious people at your door. What's their name? The Yahweh, Shuhud Yahweh.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Jehovah's Witness. They come by your door and ask you, but nicely. But this guy is going by fear.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to become pure and fear God.
And fear God and come to my religion.
And that is followed by, and he showed him the greatest sign. So Moses showed Pharaoh, the midget, the tiny dwarf, the greatest sign for Arahul Ayal Kubra. What is the greatest sign?
I think it's the snake, if I'm not mistaken, when he threw the robe and it became a snake.
Yeah, but we know that because we grew up with these stories.
Yes.
But if you go to the most southern point of South America and talk to someone native, originally descended from the Aztec, and say, Islam is the right religion, Quran is the word of God, there it is, become a Muslim, and they will pick up the Quran, open a page randomly, and he looks at, okay, so he needs to go to this Moses guy and tells him, purify yourself, and then he showed him the big sign. What sign? What sign? Okay, so
sign.
I've invited you to become a Muslim. I gave you the book, but here's 700 other books to explain this just one verse, what it is. So what does Tabari say? What's the sign? So the sign, it's his hand, which he took it out.
Yeah,
he took it out, and it was white in front of everyone. And then he threw his staff, or his cane, and it turned into a big snake.
Yeah.
What? So he showed up to.
So
there's something wrong.
He became Copperfield, David Copperfield, and that some magic, and this is the witness or the uh, evidence of God. Now, where is
Yes.
logic here?
So the Quran is there's something wrong with the story, something
Where
missing
is
from the story.
logic here? I want to stop here. Where is logic here? Because this always bothered me. Like you show some magic. Does that make you prophet? What's the relevance here between the two?
Yeah, absolutely nothing. So he just went to Moses. Apparently, he went to Moses, and his hand was in his pocket. Took it out, and it was white. Okay. And he threw his staff, and it turned into a snake. Okay. So he invited to go to Pharaoh? Pharaoh just sat there, and no guards, nobody, and Moses just showed up. What the details behind the story? Where is it? Who is this Pharaoh, which is a job title? It's not a name. And then it goes on and on and on about that it's either the staff and the snake, the staff and the hand, the staff and the hand.
It's basically the same. They're talking about the cane and his hand.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what it is. So yeah, he went to Moses. He said, Moses, you better behave
Why
yourself.
why do they say his hand became white? Was he black?
Well, he's from the Middle East.
I'm wondering.
I don't think he's the Western version of Jesus, the blonde hippie.
Yes, exactly. He came from the Middle East. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
brown. He's brown. The one he takes his
it
hand
should be
off.
brown. And
Yeah,
then,
they're
yeah,
white.
is
They're
my
white.
hand white? And it's a shock to everyone. I
Did
think it
he
was.
also have blonde hair? Did his hair also change to?
It's not mentioned, but I think that changing his hand color to white was more of a shock than changing the cane to a snake. They were all brown. Okay, so he went to Moses, better behave yourself, and there it is. I have a white hand, and my staff can wiggle around like a snake. But Pharaoh denied and disobeyed. So Pharaoh said, that's it? That's all you've got? You changed your hand to white?
Basically, here my translation also the same. So let's move
Yeah.
on. So which is.
And then Pharaoh turned his back, striving.
ثم أدبر يسعى, which is then turned he away in haste. I'm telling you, this guy is a poet.
Yeah, no, I love your. By the way, is your translation on? Is it an online thing?
What's that?
Your translation, is it a website or do you have it in hard copy?
Yes, it's a website. I'm changing back and forth.
Send me the link. Send me the link.
I will.
It's more poetic than mine.
I know, but it's also has a lot of makeup.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need lots of makeup to change the hand color from brown to white. So basically, Al-Tabari is saying he turned his back and he went back to his old ways. But Al-Qurtubi, the funny one, says, yeah, so he turned his back and ran away from the snake. He ran away from the snake. That's what my funny guy, Qurtubi. Gosh.
So the Pharaoh turned and ran away?
Yeah, because he said, no, I don't. So that's it. So
why? Was he afraid of the magic or why? Or that was the real, he was afraid that he is God or he is from God?
No, basically, Tabari said, he said, no, that's basically, that's BS. These are not miracles. He turned his back and continued his life with his old ways. So the two miracles, the white hand and the wiggly cane, didn't work on him. That's basically it. So he turned his back and went back to what
Ah,
he does best. But Al-Qurtubi, he said he ran away.
I see.
And then
These
23,
people and these people did not take the first part of the midget part from Al-Qurtubi. I mean the other translation,
yeah,
mine and yours. They didn't take the first part from uh, what's his name, Qurtubi,
mhm.
and took like they are
Pick and choose, cherry picking,
cherry
exactly.
picking. I choose from here. I choose from here
Mhm.
to make my own interpretation. Very interesting.
Which is basically putting makeup on this pig to make it look nice.
Yeah.
So, and then he turned his back, striving, and he gathered, parentheses, his people and called out. فحشر فنادى.
Then gathered he and summoned.
Good. Now let's read the translation.
Okay.
So, okay, so he gathered his people and he called on them.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Hashar means gathered. He basically gathered all his forces.
It's a crowd. Hashar
Yeah,
is a crowd.
all his people. He got all his people in one place, his armies, his counselors, whatever. And then he called them.
He crowded them.
He crowded them. So how do you
Yes.
crowd them and then you call them? Shouldn't you call them and then they
Call
will be
here
crowded?
means summoned. It's more like summoned, like he had a conference with them, or just stepped on his soapbox and gave a Friday prayer or whatever.
Yeah. But okay, so let's see what Qurtubi says. Now, Qurtubi actually mentioned it. He said, okay, but there's a reason. God works in mysterious ways. في الكلام تقديم وتأخير. He said, in this sentence, there are things that was said before their time. Because called, that's what should be the sequence. Even Qurtubi said that. It should be called on them and then gathered them.
Oh,
Because you have to call them first before they are together.
oh,
That's literally what Al-Qurtubi said. Even Qurtubi didn't make sense to him. So he said, so there must be a way, a reason why he put it, he said it uh, back to
so
front.
yeah, so I agree with this because if you want to take the literal, fanada doesn't mean summon. It means called them.
Yeah,
Like, people, listen,
exactly.
come.
My gang, gather up. This
Yeah,
guy's doing some stuff. Let's do something about it.
exactly.
So he gathered them up and he said, I am your God. I am your most exalted Lord.
Proclaimed, I, Pharaoh, am your Lord, the highest. I want to say, yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's what he said.
That's
Okay, so he got them all together and he said, I'm your God. Tabari says, yeah, that's it. I'm your God. That's it. So moving on to the next one.
yeah.
So Allah seized him in exemplary punishment for the last and the first. Parentheses, transgression. So God took him. Why did he take him? Well, for the last and the first. What is the last and the first?
Here's what this guy says. فأخذه الله نكال الآخرة والأولى. So Allah seized him between brackets and made him an example for the after between brackets life and for the former. So if I take the between brackets, it would read, so Allah seized him An example for the after and for the former is the exact way it's written in Arabic. Does that
Uh-huh.
make any sense to you?
No, it doesn't. But if you read the detailed interpretation from Al-Tabari, it might make some sense. Again, cherry picking. He cherry picked one
You
of the
mean, I
footnotes.
mean, it's even the grammar or the structure of the sentence. There is a big problem with the
Mm,
structure because when you read it, there is no brackets in Quran. See,
no,
so this is the structure itself is bad. That's what I want to say.
he's adding things to it to make it mean
Exactly,
something.
exactly.
Okay,
So
so what does it actually mean? Al-Tabari says the first and the last. That means the first sin he made, which was when he said, sorry, the latter sin was when he said, I am the most exalted God, Lord. And the first sin, when he said, you don't have any God but me. So
uh-huh.
at some point, he said, you don't have any God but me. And then in front of Moses, and then he turned his back on Moses and gathered his people and he said, I am your God. So God punished him. God took him to make an example of him for those two sins,
That he
which is
committed.
basically, it's the same. It's one sin. One time he said, I am your only God. You have no God but me. And the other time said, I am your God. It's the same sin. But then again, uh,
الآخرة والأولى, they're two words
yeah, الآخرة,
that he because of the two sentences actually that he said I'm your great or highest God.
mhm.
I
And
have no,
then,
and there is no God but me.
exactly, yeah.
So
At some point
these,
he said, there is no God but me, which is not mentioned in this place, in this surah, or in these verses. That's the first one. The second one, it was mentioned in this verse. He said, I am your God.
why this is the thing. Now your translation and my translation are exactly the same, and this is not what it says in Tabari. Tabari
Uh,
is closer.
of course, Al-Tabari is closer, but my translation didn't mention any of, because you said the afterlife.
Oh,
My,
oh,
my, my translation is pure copy and paste into Google Translate, the last
oh,
and the first.
Russian. Okay, okay.
It just says first and last translation. That's it. But in reality, it's okay. It's because the first time you said you don't have a God but me, and the second time you said I am your highest God, and he keeps mentioning all these sources that says exactly the same thing. But then out of the blue, a guy called Abdul Rahman said, Muhammad son of Allah, Abdul Karim al-Jazari, Mujahid said exactly that. But there was a gap of 40 years between the two sins. Between when he said, there's no God but me, you don't have a God but me, and then he said, I am your most exalted God. The 40 years distance between time space between the two. What does that have? Okay. And then we move on again. It's all about, it's because he said that I'm the God. And then the 40-year difference between the two incidents.
Wow.
And then, okay, and there you are. And some others said, guys,
Okay.
are you checking the details? I'm not asking you to read that. It's in Arabic. It's not meant. This whole video is meant for people who don't speak Arabic. I'm just showing you. All these people are saying the same thing, and it's in details. Hussein said, I heard Abu Ma'ad said, he said, Ubaid, he said, and
So it's
so
from different sources.
from different sources telling exactly the same thing. And then out of the blue, it says, and some others said it's the torture in life and in the afterlife. So the first and the second, out of the blue, changed from your God, your only God, to, oh no, it's God's torture, whether it's on this life or the afterlife. And the translator in your case, he took this one,
He
which
took this
has
one.
which has no source. All it says, and some others said,
Yeah.
yeah. And he took the weakest one in terms of the strength of the
So
source and
there's
how
no more. So there's
credible.
no more down.
Oh no, there's more. But it's all about, yeah. It's 40 years between the two.
Oh.
I'm your God and all that. Some others repeated this life and the other, but most of them it's all about I'm your God.
You know,
He's being punished.
in school, I still remember it was the this life and hereafter. This is how we were taught.
Wow,
I didn't know that it had all these. Let me see. Al Jalalain was the book that
that's
was.
your curriculum when you were a child.
Yes, exactly. Wait a minute. Oh, oh my God, no. Okay, go ahead because this is. I have to prepare it.
Yeah. So God took him and made an example of him. Next verse, basically. So indeed, and that is a warning for whoever would fear Allah. So yeah, I've done that. We've punished him for those two transgressions. So basically, would make an example of him to all those who fear Allah. So I've tortured him for his sins to make an example of him in front of whom? Not the people who don't believe in God. No. It's already for those who fear God. What's the point of making an example of him then? You're preaching to the choir, mate. They already fear God. What are you trying to do with that? Makes no sense.
Because of the structure and the structure, like, okay, mine is low. Herein is indeed a lesson for him who feareth. It's not exactly إن في ذلك لعبرة لمن يخشى.
Yeah.
True. لمن يخشى here means to those who already feareth, not that will feareth.
Exactly.
If they learn from this lesson or whatever.
So I have those who believe in me.
True fear.
I have those who believe and fear God. They're already on my side. They're on my team. And I have all these people who are not on my side, do not fear God. They don't believe in God. I'll focus on those who believe in God, already on my side, and punish people and torture them. Why? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Okay, it's pretty straightforward. And then,
yeah.
And then he said, now in verse 27, are you a more difficult What are you a more difficult creation, or is the heaven Allah constructed it? Yeah, this is bad. What's your translation?
Let me read it in Arabic. أأنتم أشد خلقا أم السماء بناها. السماء التي بناها مش السماء بناها.
Yeah, there's a letter missing. You're right. Yes.
Yeah. If I want the translation be like this, or to make sense.
Exactly. Yes.
That in Arabic, in English, I can say that because here this guy says, are ye the harder to create, or is the heaven that he built? See, this is very nice, but that's not what, the structure is very nice in English.
It's better than my translation, but still.
Much better, yeah. Okay.
Still doesn't make sense. But basically, interpretation.
This is when you add some gist to your interpretation. Just make it sound like poetic, and then you can get away with it with murder.
Yeah.
Basically.
Now, here's the plot twist. Your last episode at the beginning, I said, in my case, when I looked for the reason why the surah had descended, I couldn't find any. But you
Oh,
actually did find the reason, and it was because those kuffar from Quraysh asked God, when is the judgment day?
yeah. Well, I made also a little research on that.
Hmm.
You are right. There is no on the older text, there is no explanation why this, but later people came and said that uh, part of it, like the the other half of it, when I think it goes down, was when they asked him,
Yeah,
but they didn't say why was he swearing at the beginning. So I think this is also some kind of makeup, because I don't know. They wanted to make some outage to what they to the break in the verses and the story, because when you tell a story, you have to there's there's something missing in between. You feel something missing because it goes from
hmm,
one outline to a different, completely different. So
yeah.
that's why, to do this, I think, later people, that's how they explained it. Okay.
So basically, yeah. To recap on what you just said, to make it a bit more visual to people, this is the full surah. This is all of it.
The snatching.
Start the snatching started with swearing, and then describing what will happen during the end of days. So that's all about Judgment Day. And then let's talk about Moses. Let's talk about Moses, baby. Let's talk about you and me. And he went to Moses, he spoke to him and showed him a magic trick. He pulled the rabbit out of the hat. Moses didn't like it, and he turned his back and he said to people, forget about him, I'm your God. Uh, and then God punished him for it, for two sins that we don't know about. And that's it. So,
So this is your lesson if you don't believe
yeah.
in God.
And then now we are going to be talking about a thing. He is answering a question or a doubt from uh,
Judgment Day.
from Quraysh about Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Three different subjects, no relation whatsoever among them.
Yes.
Nothing.
Exactly.
Okay, so now we switch gears again. Another plot twist. We moved on from Moses, forgot about him, and he's back. And he said, yeah, by the way, you remember people from Quraysh? He said, no, there is no Judgment Day. And so he's saying, he's talking to them now. Well, God created, he built the sky. So definitely you cannot do something as that. Literally, that's what he's saying. He's saying, nobody built the sky and lifted it and make it as a ceiling.
That's what they believed since.
So you being created and your life is easy for us. I can kill you and bring you back to life, and all that is definitely not as hard as creating the sky, building the sky. And building the sky means he lifted it and made it a ceiling to earth. Sky is something physical, and he lifted it. So all those cute little Muslims who try to find different interpretations, and some scientists said, well, in one day there's like 6,000 metric tons of meteors flying through Earth, around Earth. That's what he meant. The ceiling, the atmosphere, preventing these meteors hitting us and kill us all. That's not what it says. It says a ceiling that he lifted.
Yeah. And don't forget also, in this verse, it means that earth was created before the sky,
Yeah.
because the ceiling on a house is not the first thing you build. You have
No.
to build the base and then put the ceiling.
Yeah.
So, so
So yeah, next verse is basically, yeah, he raised its ceiling and
you
proportioned it.
cannot raise it from what? From earth and make a ceiling.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he did. And oh yeah. So now basically what he's saying is, hold
Let
on,
me,
you
let
remember
me
those?
see. Let me see what he raised the height thereof and ordered it.
Yeah,
Yes,
yes,
right. I like that.
yeah. رفع سمكها فسواها. By the way, hold on. سواها might have different meanings as well. That's 28.
Wow, this guy is, phew, no wonder those people go take. I mean, I see them in fairs, book fairs. I see Muslims going and telling
Mm.
people how good Quran is. They're giving them this translation.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not this one, because in this one, Tabari says sawaha. It doesn't mean he ordered it or he made it proportion like my translation. No, it means nothing is higher than within the sky. Nothing is higher than anything else. Nothing higher or lower than anything else, and everything is at the same height. So basically, sky is flat, not earth. Sky is flat. We need a flat sky society now. Flat earth society is so 18th century. Now we need flat sky
Flat sky
society.
society. We need a new Einstein
Ah,
to
it's
invent a
painful.
flight to invent. Uh,
New types of physics.
yeah,
So yeah, okay. So moving on.
reinvent the
So
sky. To reinvent the sky.
reinvent this guy exactly. So okay. So he's still talking to Quraysh. Who are you to challenge me about when are we going to have the afterlife?
By the way, Quraysh to non-English speaking and also non-Muslims, Quraysh is the tribe that Muhammad was fighting. Just a note there.
Yeah, he's from Quraysh.
I may have my friends coming and telling me you put different words and
Mm,
terms that we don't understand. Can you be more precise?
absolutely, good point. Yes. So because people from his tribe, Quraysh, asked him, he said, "No, definitely, there's no afterlife." So after what we did, so this whole surah is he swore by lots of things, and then he started talking about Moses, and then out of the blue he remembered, oh yeah, yeah, people from my tribe, Quraysh, they challenged me about the afterlife, so let's talk about that. So that's what he did. So he said, "Yep, who are you? I'm built the sky. I lifted it up and made it flat, and he darkened its night and extracted its brightness." So this,
وأغطش ليلها وأخرج ضحاها.
yeah. So if it wasn't for him, nighttime wouldn't be dark. It might be bright in the night, and it might be dark in the day. Who knows? He made that. Nighttime could be red, not dark, not black, and
Okay,
daytime can be amber.
listen to the Veda, this translation. And he made dark the night thereof, and he brought forth the morn thereof.
Oh, yeah, this is nice. This is nice. He can write songs.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know, right? It would be
yeah.
nice if somebody would read that in a song, put some music.
So yeah. So he's basically, yeah. He made the night dark, and he added. Uh, he made night dark, and then he added night to the sky.
Yeah.
He added night to the sky because night is something to be added to the sky. Ugh.
أظلم ليل السماء.
Yeah, it's too painful to think about it. He أظلم ليل السماء. So the night sky, he made it dark, and then he added
Night
nighttime
to the
to
sky.
the sky. He added it.
Wow.
because night, now there's some science behind it, some reason, because night is actually sunset.
Okay.
And when it sets, okay, and it's setting and it's rising is in the sky. So it was added to it لما كان فيها. What? No, you've lost me now.
لما كان فيها كما قيل نجوم الليل إذ كان في الطلوع والغروب.
Our good friend Ahmed Sami says, "Peace be upon you." Our dear good friend.
Sami.
Hello, my good sir. I am trying to do the English version
to
of
make sense.
قصار الصور. قصار الصور صيد الدرر. This is the English version in my Iraqi thick accent. That's what we are doing. Okay, so for those English viewers, Ahmed Sami, he's like one of the most famous Arabic YouTubers.
He is our philosopher.
He's the philosopher, yes.
And the mathematician.
No, he's a data nerd, not a mathematician. That's a step higher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. So he lifted the sky, he added night and day and earth, and after that he spread the earth.
Okay, let me read what this guy says.
So most people that says, oh no, flat earth society.
Same thing here. And after that, he spread the earth.
Yeah, so the ha basically, it's make it flat.
Make it flat, yeah.
It doesn't say make it round. For some reason, some new Arabic-speaking Muslims saying, no, the ha means made it flat. Sorry, made it round. So, yeah, Tabari says otherwise, guys. If you know Arabic more than Tabari, I have no idea. I don't know. So, yeah, have fun with that. So I lifted the sky, added the night to it, and then made earth flat. He flattened it. And then he extracted from it its water and pasture.
Yeah, basically the same here.
So he's basically just, he's
yeah, let's move on. It's this is, oh, you want to read that from Tabari?
No, it's fine.
Let's move on.
So yeah, he got water out of and pastures and all that. So extracted the water, basically rivers, springs, all that, and that led to pastures and all the greens and animals. And the mountains he set firmly.
And he made fast the hills. Oh, he's completely off.
No, he lost it. No, Yorka lost it now.
Because you know why? Because Arsaha,
like a ship anchor.
Yes, like anchored it.
Yeah, he anchored it.
So, but mountains, this guy is smarter because he's thinking that mountains comes from earth movement. It doesn't come from something outside that would be put on earth and anchored there.
So Al-Tabari,
that's why he says, and he made fast the hills. He got away with it.
He got away with it, yeah. But when you read Al-Tabari's interpretation, it's a bit weird because Al-Tabari, he said exactly the same. So so he basically created the mountains and he stuck them on earth like a rod. So it can't move. And out of the blue, he says, Hamid said, Jarir said, Ata said, blah, 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 that when God created Earth, it kind of got upset. Earth got upset. And told, most يعني بالمصري. Yeah, I think so. Because, well, that's my impression. What does it mean? Because if you hear what did Earth say to God, Earth said, hold on, are you going to create Adam on me and his descendants,
Oh,
throwing all their foul things on me and do on me all their sins? So that's when God set it. So some of earth we cannot see. So he made some of the earth
no,
pure.
he means جبال فمنها ما ترون.
Matter, وَمِنْهَا مَا لَا تَرَوْنَ. So some of it you can see, basically the part of earth that we can see, and we
You see that.
drop on it all our foul things and commit all the sins on top of it. But some of it we don't see, which will mean it will remain pure. Just because earth complained in the early days, when earth heard God will create man. Oh,
This is too complicated, okay? You
it
make it more complicated than
has
I
nothing to do with
have.
anything.
No.
Ah.
This is crazy. Okay.
Yeah, so he created the sky, created earth.
Al-Jibal Arsaha basically means the mountains that he anchored on earth.
Exactly, he
That's it.
anchored on earth as provision for you and your grazing livestock.
Grazing.
That
Yeah.
grazing, so the
Yeah.
livestock can graze on it. لكم ولأنعامكم. Okay.
A provision for you and for your cattle.
Hold on. So my graphical representation of the different types of subjects within this surah, it's all ruined now.
Why?
Because in 34 he was just showing his muscles. I created the skies, I created earth, I created everything, and then out of the blue, but when there comes the greatest overwhelming calamity,
Yeah.
you just created earth. Just stick to the storyline. You created earth.
Yeah, he remembered that he's talking about the hereafter. So he goes back.
And he
Back
and
and
that,
forth. Back. See it. Okay.
mm, and then but then the big calamity, Palmar Cobra, Palmar Cobra, that's the judgment day.
The judgment day.
The day when man will remember that for which he strove. Okay, so that's when people will actually remember all their sins, all their actions, be it good or bad. Right?
Yeah. Let me see mine. The day when man will call to mind his whole endeavor.
Yeah, all our lives. That's
Yeah.
when, when in the movies, when someone has
Basically.
near-death experience, all their lives will flash in front of their eyes.
Okay.
That's it. Okay, thank you. And then hell will appear. And hellfire will expose for all those who see.
Who can see? Yeah. Let me see.
So what does
And
that
hell
mean?
will stand forth visible to him who seeth.
Okay. So who see it?
This Shakespearean,
Yeah.
language.
Yeah. So as for he who transgressed, hell will be exposed to all to see. In different translations, interpretation will say, no. So it will be exposed to only the sinners, but the good guys, they won't really see it. They'll just have a glimpse of it. But the bad guys will actually see all of it. So that's some interpretation, how it's exposed. And then as for those who transgressed, what's going to happen to them? And prefer the life of the world.
Mine
Okay.
is and those for whom, as for him who rebelled.
Okay, so those who rebelled and preferred the life of the world. Okay. What happens to them? Then indeed hellfire will be his refuge. Okay, thank you very much. But
Low
those
will be his home. Okay.
who are really good guys, but those who he feared the position of his Lord and prevented the soul from unlawful inclination.
Mm, mm. No,
Yeah.
it's not the exact translation.
What does it say?
وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ, but those who
Hmm.
feared their gods,
Yeah.
the position of their God, وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنَ الْهَوَى, and uh, he stopped the want in his,
Yeah.
in his,
No, no. This translation isn't that bad. It's again. It's
prevented the soul from.
from
And
inclinations.
let's see what does this guy say. But as for him who feared to stand before his Lord and restrained his soul from lust.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is
Yours
this
is
is
better.
closer. Yeah, this is
Yeah, yours is better. So far, yeah, the exposed fire. Those who are naughty boys
hmm.
will go to it, but those who are goody two
You know, by
shoes
the way, by
will
the
go to
way,
heaven.
by the way, I would like for you, for our audience to, when you go, especially non-speaking Arabic audience, look at more than one translation, just like how we're doing now. This
Hmm.
way, you will get a good idea what's going on.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. Yes. Okay, so goody two shoes will go to heaven. That's verse 41. And then 42, they ask you, oh Muhammad, about the hour. When is it? When it when is its arrival?
Marsaha again is anchor. So when is the date? That's what it means.
Exactly. So basically, yeah, the judgment day when the fire will be exposed and the goody two shoes will go to heaven, those naughty
Yes.
boys will go to hell.
So
So they
there are
ask you,
others, I researched this, and it says that some later people who came, they are
mhm,
referring to this here. يسألونك عن الساعة أيان مرساها. This
mhm,
is part of the reason why this surah was.
yeah,
But this is also people who came much later. It's just there and doesn't say who.
but wouldn't it make more sense if this whole surah started with,
I'm thinking it's more like it started with this. Although there is, to be fair, there is nothing on that on the older text.
actually, the remainder of the surah is basically that's it. So yeah, the
So this
hour,
is again,
where, when, and he says, I don't know. God knows when will it happen. All I need to do is just give you the warning. It's going to happen at some point, so you better be good. That's it.
yeah,
Now, what I suggest is let's change the sequence now.
exactly. That's what I was going to ask you to do.
Why don't we do it? And for some reason, this, yeah, they are. It got stuck for a second. So, Anthony, okay, so there it is.
Yeah. No,
That's
not
when
here, not here. يسألونك عن الساعة. It's down. It's down. It's
it's
even more.
down. It's down. Yes, no, you're right. Yeah,
No,
you're
no,
absolutely
it's
right.
it's down. It's more.
The, now I'm trying to change the color of this one,
Yeah.
and then يسألونك عن الساعة.
Exactly. This you can change.
So let's move on. Go all the way up, my dear.
Yes. This is more like it.
Hold on, hold on. No, there's some more. There's some more. Now it would make more sense.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
those who ask you about Judgment Day, you need to tell them God knows about it. All I need to do is just give you a fair warning.
Give you
And
some lessons of others who didn't believe in Judgment Day.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
This
by the
makes
way,
more sense, like the structure, as I mentioned before.
so that's Judgment Day. And then start swearing.
This swearing, I have no, it's out of context here.
Yeah, let's if we just delete the swearing then.
Yeah, nothing will change. Exactly.
So if
This
we
is
just
this is stuffing. Hashu.
Yeah, right. So if we just ignore it, the swearing part, the rest is basically a description of Judgment Day. So the God knows about the Judgment Day. That's what's going to happen in Judgment Day. This is what you will look like in Judgment Day. And then feel free after that to say, yeah, let's move on to Moses.
And give you an example of somebody who didn't. But also, this example is not valid because it didn't happen on Judgment Day. It happened here in this life.
You mean Moses?
To Pharaoh.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So it's not an example even.
The story of Moses has nothing to do with it. It's nothing.
Nothing with the Judgment Day. I
No,
mean,
yeah.
does that mean that the Judgment Day could be in this life as well? You know, because when I was a Muslim, that's how I interpreted it.
Yeah, we tried. We tried our best all our lives.
It was because I wanted it to be that way. It's not because, you know, I read somewhere.
So, yeah. So, long story short, Surah Nazi'at, the Snatchers, number 79, it's all about answering question. People from his tribe, Quraysh, ask a question. When is the judgment day this judgment day you speak of? And he swore a lot, swore as in he was swearing by the swimmingly, snatchingly. It was very bigly. He swore a lot and then described what happens in the judgment day. He did not give them an answer when it will happen. He said, I don't know, only God knows. I'm here to bring a warning. And this is what's going to happen in judgment day. And that's what we will look like in judgment day. He created the stars and sky and earth and all that. And by the way, here's a quick sneak peek on what happened to Moses. Moses has nothing to do with it, but yeah, I finished now. I'll tell you what happened. So yeah, when you enter on those talk shows, when they interview an actor or a comedian, and at the end they need to plug something. So they just published a book, or their new movies coming out, or they have a new comedy show coming. So this sounds like he's plugging his next chapter. Have you heard about Moses? Brilliant story. I'll tell you about it later. That's what it sounds like.
I mean, it's more comedy material for us.
If you read it in English, yes, it is comedy material. It's pure comedy. It's pure comedy. Some verses is pure filth, but this one is pure comedy.
We reached the end of that surah, right?
That's it. Yeah, that's the end.
Okay.
So yeah, now something to plug. Next time it's going to be Surah Abas, number 80.
Abas
وتولى.
عبس وتولى إن جاءه الأعمى. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, brilliant. I enjoyed that.
Me too. And thank you for everybody who came and visited us. Ahmed Sami, Dr. Freud, Dr. Ilyas, كلهم دكاترة ما شاء الله.
Oh yeah.
Suha Barakat, and the rest. Ali Diamond, he always comes. Hamid.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And Harib just joined us as well. 2 guys and Harib, we're wrapping up. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ruby. It was an honor.
Hi, everyone.
Have a good weekend, and we'll see you in our next episode. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.